All right, good morning, guys. It
Good
is
morning.
November 2022. Amazing. Welcome. And I guess the first thing we'll do is just a little description again, just to remind everybody what we try to cover in these meetings. The Derita area, roughly bound by 77 in the west, 85 kind of on the south side, and then WT Harris. Anything inside that is what we try to keep track of. There's downtown Derita, which we all know. And then I just list all the different districts because this area is divided by the county, by the police department, by the school board, and of course the Senate and the House, etc. So we all kind of fall into different districts. So that's just basically what we cover. As I was going through the rezonings, I was wondering.
You gonna make the meeting?
No, I've got a conference call at 9:30 with company.
Okay. Bye.
Sorry,
Let me know what
Sylvia. Okay, guys, mute yourselves if you're not me right now. Okay, that is just a baseline of what we're discussing. And I was saying, as I was going through the rezonings, I thought it might be worth trying to add some stuff that's going on, because this area here where Hidden Valley 85, sort of south of 85, Hidden Valley area, between there and the light rail is changing a lot. So that might be worth tracking as well. And then of course the whole Prosperity Church, Davis Lake area is also changing a lot. So I'll see, I might start adding those, but we've got enough to keep track of in Derita. So right now we'll just go to introductions, and I will start, and then I'll just call on you as I see you on my list. I'm Teresa McDonald. I'm a realtor with Allen Tate, a resident of Allen Hills, and on the Derita Statesville Road Community Organization. Nadine Henry.
Good morning. My name is Nadine Henry. I'm in the Sugar Springs neighborhood. I am an event planner. My business is Affairs to Remember.
Thank you, Nadine. Marjorie, welcome.
Thank
Speaking of Hidden Valley.
Marjorie Parker, president of Hidden Valley Community Association, and I hopped on just to see how my neighbors are doing this morning.
Wonderful, and we'd love to hear more from you later. So I hope you can stick with us.
All right.
All right. Jill Campbell.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jill. I'm the president, HOA president of Generals Point community off of Gibbon Road.
Welcome, Jill. Mel Renner.
Yes, Mel Renner, excuse me. Retired from the city of Charlotte as a procurement officer and former HOA president for 18 years of the Forest Pond community, and serve on the board here with the Derita Business Association.
Welcome, Mel. Jeffrey, welcome, Jeffrey Simpson.
Hey, good morning. I'm Jeffrey Simpson. I'm the HOA president of the Farmington Association off of Hubbard Road.
Welcome. And Shantae Bullock.
Hi, Shantae Bullock. I sit on the board at the Scottsboro, with the Scottsboro neighborhood off of Gibbons.
Awesome. And Sylvia Cannon. You'll have to unmute. A little, yeah, there you go.
Now I got it. My name is Sylvia Cannon. I'm president of the Derita Statesville Road Group, president of the neighborhood group for Allen Hills and several surrounding neighborhoods. And just want to keep everybody happy as best we can and keep us safe. That's our big goal, is to improve Derita. And thank you, Teresa, for these meetings. You do a wonderful job.
Thank you. Okay, I've got a few updates for you all, and starting with Derita Good News. And if you guys have more ideas for Derita Good News, please send them to me. I ran out of time to really hunt around for stuff this time around, but send them to me and we'll include them. The Derita Bench project is coming along very nicely. They're almost to their goal, and they have done a bunch of things. So if you don't know, and I'll just keep these slides in for reference, but they're collecting plastic bags and plastic bottles, number 2 plastics, clean bottles at these locations. And the details will be in the slides. But they're doing very well on their collections. There you can see the prototype that they made previously of the bench. It's all recycled plastics except for the bolts and screws and things. This was the update that I got from Hashim. And Sugar Springs, shout out to Nadine and Sugar Springs and Tony Gilchrist. They have been organizing drives to pick up items, and I have done really quite the lion's share of providing materials for this bench. So there's a picture from there, I think from the Halloween event where Hashim was picking up bags. Cats visited the studio, Hashim's studio, and they were testing the prototype bench. This is Cats, and then also somebody from Urban Design with the city of Charlotte. Here's some picture of the plastics, all the different plastics that have been melted down and then shredded. And then somehow, by some magic, they get formed into these log type things or planks, I don't know what you would call them, which will form the bench. So very exciting. Just this kind of project gets a lot of attention with, at least with the city departments that have funding to help neighborhoods with stuff like this. So now we're on the radar in terms when they receive applications from neighborhoods in Derita or individual businesses in Derita for any type of city grant. We're kind of on the radar because they want to support us. They have funds available, and they want to be sure that they're being distributed, you know, to all areas of the city. And, you know, it's hard when it takes a lot. It takes a lot to apply for one of these grants. So we're grateful to Hashim for doing that. And he has some more things he's working on. And Neighborhood and Business Services is a great resource for any neighborhoods and businesses to just see how the city can help you with some of the public facing stuff, you know, some of the public space stuff that would help your business or neighborhood. So that's exciting. Rezonings. We had one rezoning approved in October, late September. This is right in the heart of Allen Hills. Cardinal Glen neighborhood worked very hard, and the developer really was quite accommodating to address their concerns about traffic and stormwater. And it was passed unanimously by City Council. So that rezoning will go ahead. You know, it's probably a while before we actually see some clearing or grading or anything like that, but we'll keep you updated. The others these are just little rezonings. I haven't looked at them in big detail because they're mostly in the kind of commercial industrial area already. So not hugely impactful for us. Here's one where there was definitely a lot of neighborhood involvement. This affects the Oakbrook community off of they're kind of off Old Statesville Road, and I think you can get into it also if you come in off Gibbon maybe. It's just 4.7 acres. It's a part of a property that already belongs to the lumber yard that is over there, and this one is coming up for a decision by City Council, and it's kind of the issues that are created because this industrial warehouse, you know, zone existed before the neighborhoods, before any housing was ever there. It was farmland and woods and industrial uses on Old Statesville Road. So as we add housing, it creates conflict between those. So you guys can go and read all the reports online. I listened to the neighborhood presentations and the city council and so on, and they're going to vote on that on November. And I don't know where that stands, if it's likely to pass. I didn't get a chance to have a look. I don't see any good reason why it wouldn't. Again, the owner of the property is working hard to make it, you know, look good. And right now it is just a vacant field of some kind.
What are they trying to rezone it for?
It's a lumber yard that already exists there. They have several acres adjacent to this. So they're just bringing this into their operation, and it's going to hold a couple of buildings to store lumber, which is important for us if we want to build housing, to maintain, you know, these kinds of stores of products close to where they're actually being used. But you know, there's a conflict because the residents are pretty used to having an open field over there. So I don't know exactly how all of that was resolved, but you know,
I'd rather have lumber than more houses.
Sorry?
I said I'd rather have lumber than more houses.
Well, you know, we need both. And you can't have more houses without lumber. So
True.
It's, but anyway, it was a little controversial because for sure the neighbors showed up at the city council meeting. So hopefully their concerns have been addressed, because we've got to balance all the things. City council has that.
I was bugging out when I first started.
Oh, David. I'm going to see if I can mute him. Okay. All right, next, we've got a few more rezonings. These are a little bit outside of our area, but part of the whole research area that, you know, where the office parks have been historically. They're all of that is being rezoned and redeveloped because it wasn't a good use, frankly. So they're adding housing and different other uses within the offices. So that's something that is going on. I'm pretty sure that may have been approved. And the good thing about a lot of those apartments going up, wherever you look on University City Boulevard, on IBM Drive, you'll see huge apartment communities coming up, but they do come with some benefits to the community by expanding the greenways and making improvements to the roads, to the interchanges and so on. So hopefully a net benefit to us all once it's all said and done. I'll reserve judgment. This is a big one, and I didn't get a chance to read the update, but this is at Gibbon and Old Statesville Road. Nobody attended the community meeting when it was held. I do have the presentation from the developer, and I will include it to the neighborhood leaders when I mail out the stuff, just so that you can see what they presented at that meeting. I don't know offhand when that's coming up for a decision. It's probably got a ways to go. And then here's one that was approved, but I don't think that's an update from last month. It's just here for reference. I've got all of 2021 and 2022 on these slides. These were a couple of new ones. Sunset Road. I don't know the details. Again, it's very commercial already. So I don't anticipate that it's a big change. But if you guys have any concern or you read more about it and think we should pay more attention, let me know. The second one I thought was interesting, and I did reach out to the developer because the Days Inn on Sunset, they're converting 2 existing motels to multifamily housing. And that's all that I know. I don't know if they're going to be small units, like, you know, motels typically just have small rooms, each with a bathroom kind of thing. So I've reached out for more details because I am very interested, and I think you guys in Hidden Valley might be very interested to follow along and kind of see what this developer is proposing, and also what were the factors that led to this, you know, change of use.
Where are those hotels?
Days Inn Sunset, I'm not sure. It's 4924 Sunset Road. I don't know. I'm guessing it's close to 77.
I think it's across the street from that McDonald's and that truck stop.
Yeah,
Out there by the
I got you.
dinner.
I now know where you're talking about. Yeah.
so you know, it's well served by freeways, well served probably, I think, buses. I'm not sure, but anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I hope to hear more from the developer, and I'll probably follow it along, just because, you know, a lot of the problems that we have sometimes in the neighborhoods that are close to these areas, the interstate interchanges, is, you know, just an oversupply of motels and a really lack of investment in the motels. So they end up being just, housing. And it's part of the, you know, the fact that we need more options for housing. So
I just don't see how that's going to be. I just don't see how that's going to be an ideal place to live permanently.
no, but you know, we can't let the perfect be the enemy of progress, because people are living in motels, people are living in tents, and you know, we have to find stuff, you know, other options. So
Teresa, one of the things that we over here wrote the project manager, Monica, to tell them that when they do have these, repurpose these motels for homes, to do wraparound services. you know, say for instance, if there is a substance abuse issue or if there is mental health issues, we don't want all of the motels to be repurposed into to homes. Some other things too that would make it ideal, you know, maybe say we had said maybe a senior place, maybe a exercise gym or that sort of thing. So they did talk about by purchasing the motels, at least on the Sugar Creek at 85. And we're trying to come up with how to repurpose them, but I don't think they certainly shouldn't be all homes for the homeless, because if you don't have wraparound services, you're gonna have the same issues, the crime and everything that's associated with it now.
Right, right. But I mean, I'm not just thinking about the homeless. Also, we just have a huge shortage of small units.
Oh, I like the idea. I just don't,
Yeah.
I think it takes more than just a notion.
Yes.
To say, oh, let's just put them in here and just leave them there forever. You gotta have to try to get them out and get them into a smaller home or a tiny home, or, you know, something that's not the perfect solution permanently.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm interested to know, you know, how they're going to retrofit a motel for this. Most motels do have some kind of gym. Some of them have a pool. So they, you know, they really do have some decent facilities that they can convert to housing.
Yes, but here again, you have other issues that they need wraparound services, not just the gym. No, I'm thinking that some of the motels need to be repurposed into other types of areas.
Yes. Yeah. No, I
Not just
agree. I mean,
all-
I'm not sure that they're rushing to do this to every motel, or even, you know, most motels. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting, and we'll follow along. If I hear from the developer, for sure, I will let you know, because
Let me know, because that's one of the things that we have 13, I believe it's 13 motels over here at 85, beyond the bridge going toward Trine and Sugar Creek. And we,
right.
and you know, repurposing them for temporary housing is a great thing, except you got to help the people out. You got to have wraparound services to follow
up. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. So, you know, we'll stay involved and see how we can, and they, you know, the developers and the city staff, everybody needs to be hearing from neighbors like you, especially because you have so much knowledge of kind of what exists over there.
Well, it's not so much hearing, we let them know, but it's listening.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, that was an interesting one. Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more from that developer, or the city can let us know. But around the country, there are precedents for this, for converting motels to, you know, more permanent housing. Like, I'm assuming they would add, you know, more of a functional kitchen and stuff like that. But also malls. Malls are being repurposed into, you know, whole communities. And I'm trying to find, I mean, we don't have any malls necessarily. That Eastland would have been one that, you know, could have been developed that way, since the city bought the land anyway. But they decided to demolish, which may be a better use. You know, you know, other people way smarter than me will decide how better to use land, but you know, we just try to keep up.
Yeah, it is not in the news. The Asian market will no longer be.
Yes, I didn't include that here because it's just a little bit out, but that's one of the reasons. I'm sorry.
I'm in a Zoom meeting,
everybody.
so bye.
I hope I didn't mute myself. Asian Corners Mall we were talking about. Yes, there's been some big announcements, and maybe Marjorie will have some more update on that too. But a developer has bought a substantial portion of that, and they reached out to the community a long time ago to try to be sensitive to what the community wants to see, and also to the existing businesses in there. So like Lee's Sandwich Shop, and I think one of the grocery stores is definitely going to have a place in the new development. But Marjorie, do you have anything on that? Asian Corners Mall?
Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to unmute myself quickly, and that doesn't go well with the senior. Yes, we met with Cooper Morrison. It's been about a month now, and he was attentive to some ideas that we said. Of course, he's going to build quite a few apartment units. Some people say it's upwards of 1,000. He hasn't told us exactly how many. And the only thing that we said about that, he's going to build them on the Sugar Creek side near like Compare Food. I believe that's his location. And the only thing that Hidden Valley said to make some, if he does go to the city to get permission to do some affordable and the backing for affordable units, to make them affordable according to the median income for the neighborhood, not for the citywide medium income, which is upwards of 60 to 80,000. Do it for like the neighborhood is 40,000. He did listen. Also, he is going to build like a mall / marketplace, he said, that would be closer to the back of the mall. I can't remember what that street that comes down through there where that cleaner is. You know, they have this new street they put, and they have some buildings already out there.
Okay.
We gave him a list, and I can send it to you of things we want. Some of the things that Trine Mall used to have in it. Some of the same things are restaurants. Of course, we want the parking lot redone. That was number one. And then, you know, some of the same things, the restaurants, the grocery store, the pharmacy,
Right.
that, etc. It's about 20 things on the list. So I'll email you the list that we gave him.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. They did reach out, and I also had a concern for the businesses that are already, you know, that have been sticking it out over there. Now, obviously their rent must be next to nothing for what they're getting over there. But so, you know, it's going to be a challenge once they build something new and shiny to try to keep rents affordable for businesses. But I believe that is a priority for them. So I would think maybe some of the subsidies would go to some of the, like the big Asian grocery. That is one of them. There are two there. One is closing anyway because the owners are retiring, I think.
And we did say, you know, Compare Food is fine, but we wanted a more mainstream grocery store like a Publix or something like that, Harris Teeter Food Line, because some of the food in Compare Food is specific for, you know, certain cultures. So we did ask for that.
Okay. Yeah, Mel, did you have anything on Asian Corners Mall? Don't know where Mel Okay, but I will add that to the slides because yeah, as we say, a lot is changing over there, and really the impetus is from the light rail that has brought all this interest to these parts that have really, that mall is like a poster child for lack of investment by the city, and well, of course it's private property, but particularly, you know, whoever owns the mall. And part of the problem was that they have multiple owners, like there may be more than 20 different owners over there. So it's definitely, in my opinion, a good thing that a developer has bought a substantial portion, because that's kind of a flagship property, and it's definitely not being used to anything like its full potential.
Thanks for the update. I was just curious because I heard it in the news. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. These were 3 links that I wanted to share with you guys. If you're curious about anything, they actually have a ton of information. I spent the last 5 years, I think, meticulously updating a Google map that I created, a custom map with all the Derita rezonings and stuff. And it's laborious, but you tell me if this works, if you actually see a new page when I click on this link. It's loading. Do you see the screen loading? Somebody give me a thumbs up, or you still see my slide?
Actually,
You do, okay. Okay, apparently it's slow, but
Yeah, it looks like it's slowly loading, so.
it's slowly loading, but I've got the link there, and if you just Google Charlotte Explorer or Explore Charlotte or something, you will find it.
Okay.
And I hope that you can all see the screen, but there are so many things. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on Derita and Hidden Valley so that we can, you know, we're not seeing the whole city because that gets a bit much. I'll leave that part. So here's where we are kind of inside WT Harris. So you can look up anything. If you want to see CMPD response areas, it puts it on the map, so you can see what we deal with in Derita with the response areas, where we really are kind of covered by 3 different response areas. This is North Division, this is University, and this is North Tryon. So let me see what else might be interesting to look at. Speed humps. This is, I'm going to find the key, but I think where they exist and maybe where they've been approved. So I'll take that off. It's not super exciting. Let's see. There's definitely rezoning on here, but you can look up the Greenway Master Plan and see how that's laid out. The green is already done, and the brown is, where is the key? Let me see if I can.
Teresa, where do you go to look this up?
It's explorecharlottenc.gov.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I can put that in the chat real quick, and that way you have it right away. But yeah, it's a great site for seeing stuff, you know, big picture stuff. I was going to show you guys the rezonings if I can get to it, because it's somewhat not in alphabetical order. But these are the current rezonings, and you can click on click on the parcel and it'll take you to the rezoning page and you can get all the information about it. So yeah, there's this big one over in it's outside of Hidden Valley, but it's on it's also close to light rail, and that's the impetus for this big rezoning, but it's outside of Derita, so I don't necessarily cover it. But these are the ones that we're looking at. This one for Quick Trip is still, it still shows pending, but as we know, that is the new Dollar Tree at Harris Boulevard in Mallard Creek. And I did see a listing for the property. So I believe that Quick Trip is no longer interested in that property, but for some reason the rezoning still shows. And then we just got these couple here that we talked about already. I think this must be where the Days Inn is, right close to 77 and Sunset. And a couple of the others. This is where the Compare Foods is on Sunset and Statesville Road. Lots of underused parking lots, so I'm not surprised that they're, but I don't know exactly what they have planned. Anybody want to look at anything else? Let's see, subdivisions. These are subdivisions that were approved. Obviously, it doesn't go back that far in time, so you can't see, this is Allen Hills over here. That subdivision was probably approved in 1950. But you can see all the new subdivisions that have been approved. You can see a rezoning history if you want to really see how the city has changed. All these purple parcels have been rezoned in recent years. I'm not sure how long this goes back. Maybe we'll get somebody from the city to tell us more about the data that it goes on here, but I thought it was interesting and a lot of information in one place. Anybody want to look at anything else while I don't know if they've updated it for the UDO for like place types, but there you can go to the udo.org website to see place types. This is more like parcel specific. While we're on it, I'll look at the neighborhood contact list and make sure if you're a neighborhood leader or a neighborhood leader that you go and update and make sure your information is recorded with the city. And we're definitely looking better and better with the names on the list. There used to be just a couple of dots in Derita, so this is good. And I have that link in the slide, and if you can't find the link, just Google it. Google is great at finding stuff in the city website that you can't even find when you search the city website, but Google will find it. Anything else? Anybody? I don't know if you can read all these things. Code enforcement service areas. You can see again, we're kind of between two areas, and the Sugar Creek and Gibbon Road are roughly the dividing line, and here Statesville Road. So that's code enforcement. Everything is divided into districts so that they can staff those areas. Anybody want to look at anything in particular, or they do have the policy map linked here, so that might show some place types. It's hard to know exactly what it shows. Maybe this gives us some more information. Oh, it was just slow to load. Okay, that explains why there was only one color. But this shows the new place types. And if you don't know the colors, this yellow is single family zoning, neighborhood 1 and neighborhood 2, pretty much, which is, you know, townhomes are considered single family. And then the purple is commercial, which could include apartments. Apartments are considered commercial. And the red is business, and so on. I won't test my memory anymore. Campus is another one here where all these, you know, obviously UNCC, but that's another zone, a place type in the new zoning ordinance. All right, everybody still awake?
Yeah, I'm here.
We're still here, Teresa.
I love this stuff, and I love big picture stuff. You know, I want to see how everything fits together and how it relates and all of that. So I do like this. I'm going to see. Okay, you see my screen again, my presentation. Here's another one, which may just be too much information, but the Quality of Life Explorer, it's, I think it's a tool that's maintained by the Urban Land Institute at UNCC, but they pull together stats from everywhere, from the census, and you can delve into this to see where they pull the information. But again, you can go and look at, here are the, you know, if you want to see, you know, what are the education levels in your district. This one, it happens to pull up student absenteeism as I've opened it. But there is, these are the main headings or the main sections. So this is under education. You can look at all these different things, neighborhood school attendance, whatever you're trying to, you know, study for your neighborhood. This data is here, and they tell you a lot about the data because, you know, sometimes the data is something they've just started collecting, so you can't really look at it over time. But a lot of this stuff they've been collecting consistently in the same way, of the same areas over time, so you can see trends.
Teresa, do they have statistics about the neighborhood, like how many residents, how many homes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just looked at housing, and oh, it's taking a while to load.
It's okay. I would like.
But yeah, you can go and explore it. So Hidden Valley, you're kind of lucky because you're all sort of in one NPA, whatever NPA stands for.
Okay. Well, I get a lot of questions from the
Yes,
and other folks saying, you know, how many people, and I don't keep that on the top of my head. So
yeah.
I can go to explore.
So you can go under housing and then home ownership, and you can see it's kind of color coded. So Hidden Valley is in this green area, so it's somewhere, it's below 50% according to this data.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then the more blue it is, the higher the percentage of home ownership.
I know we have almost half rentals.
Yes, that makes sense. That's what this is showing. 40% home ownership.
Okay, so it's now 40. Okay.
Yeah, according to this. And
Right.
the county average is 56.4. So it's useful to know what the county average is, because you just look at a stat in isolation and you can't really make sense of it. But yeah, that's
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So this is another one just to keep in your pocket if you ever want to explore anything and see how things stand in your neighborhood. I'll put that one in the chat as well. Figure out where. And then I have one more, which this might be the time to discuss some of the other things going on in the area. But this is crime stats, and I just point to you to the map that CMPD provides. But you can also, depending on what you want, you can have the My CMPD app on your phone, which will send you alerts, and you can decide if you want every alert or just serious alerts. And I think you can set your location. But this is what this map looks like, and I'm just going to come down to Derita, and you can kind of see again, a lot of the crime is just along the corridors, along the busy roads, the commercial, where the commercial activity is clustered, etc. So whatever you want to make of this data, it's here, and these little symbols, I don't remember where they have the key, but I think the little $sign is a theft. That's assault. The little fist is assault. Car, I think it's theft of car, or maybe larceny from a car. Let's see what this little symbol is. Vandalism. I guess it's a little can of spray paint. And this is armed robbery. Oh no, burglary. Huh, okay. Wouldn't that look like armed robbery to you? Somebody's wearing a mask like that. Fraud. So you can kind of see the incidents. I also don't know, I didn't set the time here, but you can sign up for alerts, and that I think will send you the My CMPD alerts. So that's another useful one just to keep track of if you think you're noticing a trend in your neighborhood, or of things that weren't reported, or they were reported and they're not showing up. This is a useful site. I'm just keeping this slide in because we must know who our city council people are. They're a person to reach out to if you have issues that are not being dealt with, that should be by the city. Code enforcement, CDOT issues, public safety issues, etc. They should be able to help connect you with the right people. So
I know Malcolm Graham canceled his town hall. It was postponed twice and then just canceled altogether. And I'm sorry.
Yes, he's recovering from a knee replacement or some kind of knee surgery.
I'm sorry. I thought that he could sit on the Zoom just like we're doing to answer questions, recovering from knee surgery or not. I'm sorry if I'm not being more empathetic, but with this being an election year and with crime up 20%, I'm in need for him to make a way to connect with his, with his district. And it's very disappointing that, with the numerous postponed postponements and then now just the outright cancellation, like just cancellation. It's just like, okay, I don't have time for this. I'm going to sit at home and recover. You know, a lot of us are recovering from a lot of things. A lot of us are going through our own issues. And I'm not going to get very personal about what it is that me and my family are going through, but we still show up. And so it just seems as though no one really wants to have a face-to-face conversation. They just want you to show up to city hall, or, you know, contact my receptionist, and they gives you this complete runaround. Malcolm Graham was supposed to be a person that we could reach out to directly regarding the gunshots and regarding the gun violence here in my neck of the woods on this side of Derita, but we don't get responses anymore. So now that, you know, I think he is still running unopposed. And now that, you know, there hasn't really been a lot of, I guess, murders on this side of Derita, it's not really a concern. If it's not if it's not in the West Points area, or, you know, any part of District 2 that's closer to uptown, he doesn't really seem to be that concerned. And that to me is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a problem in a lot of districts. They have kind of a center of gravity that gets all the attention, for good and bad reasons. But yeah, and I don't know how we solve that problem, because, you know, Derita kind of disappears in the mix in all the districts. But we'll see. Those elections happened, by the way. So these are our council members for the next. They're going to have a short term before there are elections again, because this election was completely out of step.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing. Like, why are we having an election in the middle of the summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was delayed. It couldn't be held last November when it should have been held because of redistricting. We had to redistrict because a lot of our districts, particularly 4 and 3, had grown way too big, and others had grown smaller. And, you know, the districts have to be roughly the same number of people. Otherwise, you're not, you know, one person, one vote kind of thing. So the redistricting was delayed, and Marjorie knows all about the redistricting, as do we over here in precinct 26, because we were changed. We were moved from District 4 to District 1. And I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, as somebody who tries to advocate for Derita, because as far as I'm concerned, I've got 3 people plus all the at-large members that really need to hear us. So we work on it. I don't know if they hear or listen, but we just keep making a noise. That's all that we can do. So Carrie, hopefully Mr. Graham will reschedule once he's got back to a full work schedule. But yeah, these are our city council reps for the next, I believe it'll be next November 2023 when they come up for election again. So they have kind of a short term now, which is frustrating too, because it means that they start to kind of campaign, which just means that you hear a lot of empty words in council meetings, and you know, all over the place, grabbing media attention for hot button issues, and not a lot actually gets addressed. So I don't know how we solve those problems. That's politics. So we try to work on what we can control. In this upcoming election, the county commission is on the ballot. And also, I forgot to put a slide in here, but the city bonds are on the ballot, and I certainly support the city bonds. And I'm looking around to see if I have the list, but the city does do a reasonable job of issuing bonds every other year, and spending that money as they intend. And it's there's probably school and roads and various capital improvements, community improvements in those bonds. So you could go and look it up, see if you agree with me. But I certainly would encourage you, firstly, to vote if you haven't already. Tuesday's election day. Early voting goes through Sunday. And if you agree, support the vote for the city bonds. I'm keeping this slide in about the property revaluations because any minute now, you're going to receive a letter from the Mecklenburg County to tell you your new home value, which is going to be based on what homes were selling for in, I think it's 2022. I forget which year they're using, but yeah, you're likely to see that your property values have gone up a lot, which they did over the last 2 years, especially in Derita, where we had kind of a lower base to start with. Our property values went up by 40% over the last 2 years. It doesn't mean that your tax is going to go up by 40%. A separate issue, the city and the county will set the tax rate, the millage rate, which you see here on your tax bill. And that is the multiplier to use against your new tax value to figure out what your actual tax bill will be. So, but I'm available if anybody, receives that and thinks it's really out of whack, the valuation that the city gave you, I'll be happy to take a look at that. Because it's ironic. We may be in a recession or going into a recession, and we're definitely gonna have increased property taxes just because our property values have gone up so much. Just keeping this in some links for if you need speakers from the city, any of the city departments, and want them to attend any of your neighborhood meetings. These are the links to get them. And I'm going to just jump ahead. I mentioned Dollar Tree. To neighborhood updates and just see what you guys have that you want to bring up here. Good, bad, just an update, events, anything that you want to share for your neighborhood. Maybe just raise your hand or start speaking if you've got something on your mind.
Well, I'll go ahead, Nadine.
Okay. Sugar Springs has been on the active side. We've completed trunk or treat. We did it last Saturday. And we had 13 houses participate in the neighborhood. One house went completely all out there. The entire front of the house had the spider webs and everything. The children enjoyed it. Our parents were happy. And it kept us from going ahead and being on Monday when it was raining. So it was a really good thing. As Teresa mentioned, we are helping with the bench project. I have a young man who's working with Hashim, and we're going to continue as long as he needs bags to continue collecting and getting them to him. Last night we had a town hall meeting, and we invited Officer Logan, and it was a very, very good meeting. He stayed with us for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. Also on that call was Renee Johnson. And Carrie, I know you're having not a great experience, but I can say that Renee was fantastic for us. We had an issue that came up. She was able to jump in, have those people give her a call, and they're going to work on what needs to be done to resolve it. So I was really happy about that. For the rest of the year, we're doing a visit to Fire Station 22 in November with the kids and families to drop off treats and say we are grateful. We're in December, we're going to the police department, same thing. We're trying to do a neighborhood dinner, trying to find a location for that so that we can have a gathering. And this is something that we did in my old neighborhood, and I'm going to try to revitalize it. On Christmas Eve, we had somebody dress up as Santa Claus, and you would bring your sack for whatever you want delivered to your home. And Santa Claus would come to your house, deliver the sack, take pictures with your family, and go on to the next house. So that's Sugar Springs for the rest of the year.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else somebody was trying to speak.
Yeah, it was me. It's Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah, that's a tough act to follow.
I'm sorry, Carrie.
No, it's very inspirational. I wish I can get my community that involved. We can't get people to show up for town hall meetings to save our life. And, you know, I will say we were just awarded by the city another grant to get our back fence replaced because we have vandals that are kicking down the planks and kind of creeping through them into people's backyards. And so, you know, we've got people complaining about that, but they won't show up to help us with the community service with the matching grant to get it done. But we got it. We've also an update, and I spoke to Teresa about this, that the land has sold on Nevin Road on the corridor of, so think about the corner of Nevins and Mallard Creek, and then you have your tree line corridor going to the other side of Sugar Creek. It's a wonderful shaded area where people walk and run and we pick up trash around that area. There has been a developer who's reached out to us in regards to encroachment situation in regards to our fence. So our fence is encroaching 18 feet. They are proposing a 75 unit complex. I don't know if it's apartments or townhomes yet. We have not received their site plan yet. We are working with them to see what that's going to look like. It is going to affect the trees, but like Teresa said, according to the ordinance, they're going to have to replant those trees. And so that means that we're losing our fence and our retaining wall. We are working with them to provide dirt and other things that we could do to kind of meet in the middle to make sure that we don't lose all of that space separating us from the street. But it is 75 apartment units. They said that they are going to be selling at market value. I'm not excited about it because it is right in our backyard. But that's what's happening. So we have 75 new units coming up. And yeah, that's the only, please be on the lookout. It's that time of year where people are actually stealing things out of your yard. We had someone pretend to be a maintenance man and he stole our entire call box. So we do have a gated community, and he came in broad daylight and disassembled our call box that has everyone's information in it, their emails, their phone numbers, I don't think it has our addresses in it, but instead of just taking, a component from it, he took the entire box. And the people that saw him thought that he was a maintenance man. If you guys see anything that looks a little strange, contact the police. Just call. We also work with Officer Logan. Call them, ask for a ride through, and ask these people like, "Hey, are you here maintenancing? Can I see your business card?" Stop them, because you live here. You never know what people are doing. It is that time of year where people are looking for, I like to call it, a lick. And so a lick is basically the luck of a draw. They're looking for something that's going to give them some extra money. And so, yeah, that was $4,300 of our property that was stolen. So everybody
Tell
just,
me, repeat what that is exactly. I didn't quite catch it.
the call box for the lick.
Call box, the actual
So
thing that was
the-
stolen.
Yeah, so the call box, when you pull up to the gate, you have to put
Oh
in,
my word.
yeah. So it's what, yeah, so it gives you, and we have cameras, we have surveillance footage, but he made sure that his license plate, he did not pull in far enough to where we got his license plate, and all the markings on his car was gone. He had a not a disguise, but he had on sunglasses, a hoodie, so we couldn't really see his face. But yeah,
That wasn't
it
opportunistic. That was planned.
was very planned. And
Yeah.
so, Teresa, what we're scared of is, because we've gotten it replaced, we're afraid that it's going to happen again. And so we're trying to figure out, what do you do? I mean, because it's a state-of-the-art call box. So the call box, and also that was replaced last year with another grant. We got the new gate, and so we had to get the call box to go with it. So
Wow.
what do? We can't put a tracker in it because it's going to affect the frequency.
Uh,
We don't really know what else to do at this point, but it sucks that it happened.
And I wonder if it's a rising crime, and if the manufacturers would try to do some tracking. That was the first thing that came to my mind. If it was, because it sounds like it's a fairly smart device, so you would think it could have some tracking added. But yeah, that's disturbing. Yeah. And maybe your HOA management company might know if other communities have experienced that. And it's one of those things that it's like, okay, you've got to figure out if this is happening to other people and try to put your heads together to, and the police department may also know. But goodness, I never heard of that.
Yeah, me either. And so I put it on Nextdoor. I want to send a note to Jason Stujanki to ask if this has been like an ongoing issue, because, I've never heard of that either. And we've been a gated community for 20 years. And so I just don't really understand, like, why all of a sudden, like, why target us, or if they're targeting other people. So I don't know who else to reach out to see if this has been an ongoing issue. The police department they said that they'd never seen anything like this either. But the vendor, they said that there have been people actually kind of hanging around the warehouse and, trying to get in there.
Yeah.
And
so it's another thing is, where are they selling this? Like, where is the market for, or used call boxes? And of course it may be outside of our area too, but yeah, there must be, they're not buying it just to use on their home. I don't think. Maybe they're buying it for all the information that's in it. I'm not buying it, stealing it. But yeah, that's very interesting. I would definitely, the media, the HOA management, and just try to figure out if this is a trending thing, like catalytic converters, just what's the market? Because whoever might be buying something like that, you would think is a legitimate organization, so they should be raising questions if somebody's offering them something like that used.
Well, they did a big bust with the converters. I saw it on Good Morning America today.
Oh,
They found a huge company and they had been buying them, but they don't use it as a converter. They melt it down and use the elements.
yes,
And
yeah,
the elements too. So it might be something like that too.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this sounds quite a professional and planned operation. So yeah, maybe Jason Stuchenki needs to get on it and investigate a little bit. Pose with one of those for sale and try to see who's buying. Gosh, but that's an expensive thing, and who knows? Would be interesting to know if they're stealing it for the actual thing, for the information that's in it, or if, like with catalytic converters, if it's, you know, some kind of chips and things that are in there that maybe they can, you know,
Yeah.
they
Well,
know
just
they
let
can
everyone
resell.
know. Yeah, if you see something, say something. Just trying to let everyone know.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's very easy to buy those maintenance vests. And really you can do just about anything if you're wearing an orange vest. So yeah, we've got to question a little bit more, especially, you know, if you know that there's nothing that should be done to that unit. There's no reason for somebody to be there. Wow. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, Carrie, what they tell us from the city and various, you know, community engagement things is you can only get people together for two reasons: when they're angry, when there's a problem, and to have a party. And I think if, you know, Nadine's strengths, obviously, as an event planner, lend, you know, towards the party aspect. So that's.
I'm willing to sit down with the different heads or folks that are interested. We can have our own meeting and bounce ideas around, because I'm quite sure you have something that I haven't thought about, and finding the strength. I can't do it by myself. So I found a lady who knows how to do fantastic posters. I have one that enjoys putting tables together. So all those things together make it easier. And we have one lady in our area, Linda, and her theory is if you build it, they will come. So this is our rebuilding year. And it starts out with maybe 3 or 4 people, and you get them to tell 3 or 4 people. And last night, I think we had our top was 18 people on our call for the police. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Nadine. Anybody else got any fun stuff or concerns to add? We're at 10:18, so we can just about wrap it. I wanted to welcome Linda from the Charlotte Post. Hey, you didn't get to introduce, but I just wanted to check in with you and see what you might have for us.
Let's see, we just kind of finished up our gala that we had last month. Nothing on the radar at this time. Thank you, Miss Sylvia and the team for helping our neighbors clear up their property. It looks a lot better. Thank you there. But other than that, no, nothing to report.
Okay. Thank you. Was the gala a success? I did send it to our whole email blast, but I don't know if that ever translates into more interest or more tickets sold.
Yes, it was a success. What I'll do in the future is kind of get that information out to everyone in advance there, and feel free from any of the business or residents online that's at this meeting to reach out to me if they need any assistance at all.
Awesome, thank you. All right, anybody else? Sylvia?
We're having a problem with dumping. The service station at Graham and 85, I called the company. They sent somebody out and cleaned it up. As of yesterday, it's as bad or worse than it was before. There's somebody living in the electrical closet of the drive-through car wash. I don't know whether they're living in there or they're stealing copper or whatever. But anyway, I've got to call in again to see if we can get that cleaned up. They now are starting a big dump at on Gibbon Road just after the intersection of Niven and Gibbon. You got a couple car places and then an open field. If you look at the open field, people are starting to dump mattresses, chairs. There's big wooden rollers that cables own. I'm going to try today to see if I can get in contact with the owner and see if we can get that mess cleaned up.
Maybe some of the businesses that are there can add cameras, or maybe signs that say, just signs that say you're under video surveillance. I bet that would deter people, even if there is no camera.
Maybe that's something I'll mention to the lady in California when they contact the person here, you know, to get this service station cleaned up.
Yes.
And I talked to the people doing all the pole work up Gibbon. None of it belongs to them. They're contracted for Duke. They are using that one piece of the empty field as parking for their trucks to keep them out of the highway, but it was already a driveway anyway. So, you know, they're not leaving junk there. This other is just blatant throwing stuff. We have a pole down close to on corner of Princess and Graham, where they replaced the pole. The old pole is broken at the bottom. Duke Power has moved the power lines, but the AT&T and Spectrum, or whoever the other bottom set of lines belongs to, have not. The weight of those lines is pulling the pole over to the house. Once the bottom of that pole breaks, it's going to shoot straight out. So if you're in the outside lane of Graham Street, when you get next to Princess going north, watch out, don't get caught. I can't get the companies to come move their lines off of that pole. And it is a major safety for a heavy travel road. So that's it. Trying to get things cleaned up.
Thank you, Sylvia. Anybody else got anything to add? Otherwise, we're going to finish up, and our next meeting is December 1st. It's actually the first Thursday is on the 1st. So mark your brain and your calendar, and we'll see you then. I'm just going to see what's in the chat. Okay, Nadine had to leave. Okay, let me try to copy that message from Marjorie. And I think that's everything, guys. I will send out the slides and the recording link, etc., in email later. And thanks for coming, and thanks for your engagement. You're all doing an awesome job, including you, Carrie. Don't. Yeah.
Thanks for all the support, and have a great day.
Bye. Same to you guys.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording.